Hello and welcome back to Viper Cricket's ongoing coverage of the JLT Cup. I'm your host James, and what a game! What a game we have witnessed at the W.A.C.A between Western Australia and New South Wales. In case you missed it, the Western Australians have won this match by a margin of just 9 runs as the game went down to the final over. And we are going to get straight into all of that with the full match recap. Early wickets fell for Western Australia. Michael Klinger getting out for a duck before Bancroft, Mitchell Marsh and Ashton Turner joined him pretty quickly back in the pavilion. Shaun Marsh, however, anchored the innings with a delightful 132. Not out, batting the entire innings for that score of 132. Jonathan Wells helping him with 57 runs, as New South Wales were able to restrict Western Australia to 269 off their 50 overs. However, that proved to be enough. Proved to be a few runs too many for New South Wales. Daniel Hughes and Nick Manson got the team off to a solid start before Curtis Patterson and Moises Enriquez batted well in tandem. Patterson making 51 and Moises Enriquez 72. However, wickets fell for New South Wales, and suddenly they found themselves in dire straits. Sean Abbott fell for a duck. Gurinder Sandhu was run out for a duck. Ed Cowan fought valiantly for 53 runs, but suddenly it was left to youngsters Harry Conway and Mickey Edwards to hit 10 runs off the last over. And we are going to go now to a clip from that game with New South Wales requiring 10 runs off the last 5 balls. Here is what happened.
Berendorf again to Edwards. Victory, and they have lost 6 for 28, New South Wales, and a remarkable comeback under lights here at the W.A.C.A for the Warriors to win this game against the Blues in a tense finish going right down to the last over. And Jason Berendorf, 3 wickets in the end for 34 in a brilliant display of bowling for him to move on units making up Sunday.
Jason Berendorf with 3 for 34, taking the wicket there of Mickey Edwards, who batted pretty well for only 10 runs at the end there. Rotating the strike with Ed Cowan before Cowan got himself out, caught, holding out to long off for 53. And the Western Australians taking a remarkable victory. New South Wales losing 6 for 28 right at the end there, handing the Western Australians victory by 9 runs. We mentioned earlier that Shaun Marsh made 132. It was enough to earn him Man of the Match honours. And we're going to play a quick clip also from the cricket.com.au live stream. Shaun Marsh's post-match interview after winning Man of the Match.
Fantastic win by the boys, and hopefully that gives us a bit of momentum leading into Sunday's game.
Shaun Marsh speaking there to Laurie Colliver after 132. The game he's talking about there will be Western Australia versus Victoria. The return clash on Sunday, again at the W.A.C.A, again a home game for the Western Australians, but this time taking on the Victorians. Same day, of course, Queensland will take on the South Australians down at Allan Border Field. Remember, all games are free entry, and remember that all games are live streamed free, courtesy of cricket.com.au. We are now going to move on to our segments, our regular segments, which we will be doing after every match. The first of which we call Good, Bad, and Ugly. Good for this week, definitely Shaun Marsh. You could almost put him in a category of very good. A wonderful innings of 132, anchoring the innings of Western Australia, batting for all 50 overs, facing 136 balls. Delightful stroke play from Shaun Marsh to guide his team to victory in a man-of-match performance as Western Australia sealed the deal. We're also going to give a good to Moises Henriques for that 72. It was a good innings, working in tandem with Curtis Patterson, scoring the runs for New South Wales. New South Wales looked to have that game all wrapped up in a nice bow when Moises Henriques was batting. And so Moises Henriques is going to receive a good for this week. On the contrary, bad for New South Wales because Moises Henriques' 72 proved to be their highest individual score for the New South Wales team, and they are going to miss him as he heads over to India to play in the T20 series against India for Australia. And Moises Henriques is going to be a huge loss for that New South Wales side. Also under bad, we are going to give Gurinder Sandhu for that run out. There's a bit of yes, no, sorry. Gurinder Sandhu stuttering. And Jai Richardson throws down the stumps to run Gurinder Sandhu out for a duck off 5 deliveries. And adding to the woes that ended up with New South Wales losing 6 for 28, which is our ugly for this game. New South Wales losing 6 for 28. They had that game all wrapped up, as I said. Curtis Patterson on 51, Moises Henriques 72, and don't forget Ed Cowan with 53 as well. New South Wales really should have won that game, but they lose 6 for 28 in what can only be described as an ugly batting collapse. And that is this week's segment, this game segment, for good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're going to move on to today's play of the day. Today's play of the day goes to Shaun Marsh for that 132. It was a wonderful innings. He batted superbly, batting all 50 overs for that 132 and taking the game, proving to take the game out of the hands of New South Wales, as New South Wales came up short by 10 runs. Wonderful innings from Shaun Marsh, man of the match performance. Today's play of the day. So, where was the game lost for New South Wales? Well, you have to really say, you don't like to point fingers, but the dismissal of Moises Henriques certainly key to Western Australia's chances of winning that game. And that wicket of Henriques just seemed to start off that collapse of 6 for 28 that we keep mentioning. And in conjunction with that, the loss of Peter Neville. The 2 wickets of Moises Henriques and Peter Neville, both good batsmen, both destined for scoring big scores. Those 2 wickets probably costing New South Wales in the end and leaving it up to their tail to try and knock off the rest of the runs, proving too many as Western Australia win the game by 9 runs. Our state oddity this week goes to Moises Henriques. Odd fact about this game, if anyone was watching, is the fact that Moises Henriques was the only person to hit a six during this game. Obviously, sixes are quite rare in T20 cricket, but you expect people to be hitting sixes in a limited overs format. And yet, Moises Henriques was the only person to hit a six on this W.A.C.A evening. That six coming during that 72 of his, and going down as today's state oddity. And so concludes our coverage of the match between Western Australia versus New South Wales. We keep mentioning it, but Western Australia have won this match by 9 runs in a match that went down to the final over. New South Wales losing 6 for 28 to hand the Western Warriors victory on home soil in their first game of the JLT Cup. And we look ahead in this tournament to Sunday, where 2 games will be taking place. The first of which, one of which will be the Western Warriors again, this time taking on the Victorian Bushrangers, the Bushrangers' first game of the JLT Cup. It'll be an interesting one. Western Australia on home soil, coming off the back of this victory. Can they knock off the Victorian Bushrangers in their first clash of the JLT Cup? And the other game, of course, which will actually take place before it, but I've left it to the end because we have a special announcement, and that is Queensland versus South Australia on Sunday down at Allan Border Field, and we will be there live. Viper Cricket will be down at Allan Border Field to report on the match at the ground. We're going to see this game played live as Queensland take on South Australia. Queensland fresh off the back of a victory against the Cricket Australia 11. South Australia off the back of a loss against the Cricket Australia 11. So it's a game not to be missed. Neither is the game in Perth, Western Australia versus Victoria. Remember that all games of the JLT Cup are free entry. Free entry for everybody to get into this game. So come down to Allan Border Field or the W.A.C.A, depending on where you are. Come and watch the game live. Support the teams. Support the JLT Cup and come on down live. And remember, of course, if you cannot, that the games will be live streamed courtesy of cricket.com.au, live and free on cricket.com.au. That's all from us here at Viper Cricket. I am James, and until next time, that's Stumps.